the ticket that changed his life. The station was cold, not just in temperature but in feeling, the kind of cold that made your bones ache and your heart feel smaller with every passing hour. Jace sat near a fuel vent, staring at the flickering neon board that listed departing shuttles. His jacket was torn at the sleeve and his boots had holes in them. He had exactly 12 credits left in his account, barely enough for a single meal. He hadn't eaten all day, but he didn't care. Not really. He had no family left, no job, and no plan. All he wanted was to get off Tarsus Station, a floating junk pile orbiting a forgotten moon. Then he saw her. She stood alone near the security gate, close to the wall, trying to stay out of sight. She looked young, maybe 16 or 17, in human years. She was covered in dirt, her silver hair tangled and her thin dress clung to her like old cloth. Her skin had a soft violet glow, and her eyes, golden and wide, watched everyone with quiet fear. An alien. Clearly not from around here. The guards ignored her. The travelers passed her without a glance, but Jace couldn't stop staring. She looked lost, afraid, cold. He got up and walked toward the ticket line, rubbing the back of his neck. The next shuttle was leaving in 20 minutes for Arkel 9, a colony world that needed workers. It was his only shot, but the line was long and the ticket was 10 credits. He heard a noise, a quiet cough. He turned. The alien girl was standing beside him now, still silent. Her bare feet were red and cracked. She looked down and then slowly pointed to the departure board, then to herself. She had no credits, no translator, no help, and no one cared. Jace looked at the board again, then at his card. Credits. Enough. For one ticket and a half-eaten protein bar. He could leave. He could survive. He could finally escape this metal prison. But something deep inside him, something he hadn't felt in years, spoke louder than logic. He stepped to the counter. 2 tickets to Arkel 9, he said. The woman behind the glass looked him up and down. That'll be 20 credits. She's a refugee, he said quickly. There's a half rate for non-combatants. She rolled her eyes. Fine, 15 credits. Still more than he had. He hesitated, then reached into his boot and pulled out a small chip, the emergency backup he never thought he'd need. His last emergency fund. This covers the rest. He didn't look at the alien girl again. Just handed her the printed ticket and walked toward the gate. She followed him, still not speaking, still silent. But when they reached the shuttle's boarding ramp, she touched his arm lightly. And for a moment, everything stopped. The noise. The people. The cold. Jace looked at her. Her eyes shimmered. Her lips moved slightly, and in a voice barely a whisper, she said one word. Thank you. Then she boarded. Jace followed, heart pounding. He didn't understand why he had done it. He didn't know her name, her story, or where she was from. But something told him he was meant to help her. As the shuttle lifted off, the lights dimmed and the passengers settled in. Jace leaned back in his seat, closed his eyes, and told himself he had done the right thing, even if it meant he had nothing left. That's when the alert came through the ship's speakers. All passengers, remain seated. Priority alert from Central Command. A fugitive of galactic importance may be on board. Target is described as female, silver-haired, possible royal origin. Considered extremely valuable. Jace's eyes snapped open. He slowly turned toward the girl sitting beside him. She stared out the window, calm, quiet. But now, a small glowing symbol had appeared just below her collarbone, faint, royal, and unmistakable, and Jace suddenly realized he hadn't helped a poor alien girl. He had just saved a hidden princess. And now, the entire galaxy was about to come looking. She's not who you think she is. The shuttle hummed softly as it moved through the cold black of space. Jace sat frozen in his seat, his eyes still fixed on the girl beside him. The alien girl he had spent his last credits. On her face was peaceful. Too peaceful. Outside the small round window, stars stretched like silver threads. But Jace's thoughts weren't on the stars anymore. His heart thumped hard in his chest, the symbol on her skin, glowing faintly in blue. He had seen something, like it once before, in a news report about the lost royal bloodline of the Erythean Empire. That empire had fallen years ago. Many believed its royal family was dead. Assassinated, vanished. But now, one was sitting right next to him? No, it couldn't be. Maybe it was just a tattoo. "You okay?" he asked her quietly. She looked at him, finally, fully, and then she spoke, not in broken alien tongue, not with hesitation, but with perfect standard. "Yes, thank you for helping me, you didn't have to." Her voice was soft, smooth, and royal. There was weight behind each word. Jace blinked. "You can speak standard?" "I can speak 36 languages," she said. That shut him up. For a moment. She smiled a little, but it faded quickly. Her eyes went to the floor, then back to him. "You want to know who I am?" "Kind of," Jace admitted. "Especially after that announcement." "Then I'll tell you." She sat up straighter and placed her hand on her chest. "My name is Lyri Zion, last heir of House Zion, daughter of Queen Nyasha, and descendant of the Sunspire thrones of Aretha. I am the one they are hunting. I am not just a refugee. I am what's left." Jace stared at her, mouth dry. "Princess, a real one. So why were you on Tarsus Station, in rags?" "Because when you're hunted by the galaxy, you learn to hide where no one would look," she said. "Among trash. Among pain." She looked out the window now, her voice distant. "I was taken when I was 14. My family was murdered. I escaped barely. I've been hiding ever since, changing faces, changing names." She glanced back at him. "But I never expected a stranger to give me a ticket." "I didn't know," Jace said. "That's why it mattered," she whispered. A sudden search, a red light blinked overhead. The intercom buzzed. "Security check in progress. Everyone remain calm. Military patrol boarding in 5 minutes." Jace's gut dropped. They were being boarded. Lyri tensed. "They're here. Faster than I thought." Jace looked around the shuttle cabin. Armed patrol officers would soon walk row by row, scanning IDs and faces. "We need to hide you," he said. "There's no place on this ship." "There's one," Jace said. "I work with these systems. I know this shuttle class. There's a sub-engine bay. It's radiation shielded. Scanner-proof." She looked at him carefully. "Why are you helping me? I could be dangerous." "You already are," Jace said. "But you thanked me. That's enough." The hidden chamber. They moved quickly. Jace led her to the rear of the shuttle, past maintenance doors, into a dark corner where the panel buzzed faintly. He opened a side wall and pointed inside. "Stay. Though don't move, don't talk," Lyri nodded. Before climbing in, she touched his shoulder. "If they catch you, say I forced you, say I lied." "No," Jace said. "If they catch me, I'll lie." She blinked. A strange, powerful look passed between them. Then she climbed in. Jace sealed the panel. The soldiers arrive. Moments later, the door slid open. 2 galactic patrol officers stepped in, tall, armored, scanning each passenger with hard eyes. Jace sat back in his seat, trying to look sleepy. "You human. ID now," one barked. Jace handed over his chipped card. The soldier scanned it. "Engineer, Tarsus class. Why leave the station?" "No work," Jace said. "Just trying to get to Arkel 9. They need hands." The soldier grunted. "Any unusual activity on the station before boarding?" "A fight in the fuel dock," Jace said. "Some vendor shouting. I stayed out of it." The soldier looked him over one more time, then turned to leave. "Stay sharp," he said. "Fugitive might be using identity tech. When it's safe." Again, hours passed. The patrol left. The shuttle flew on. Finally, the ship entered orbit over Arkel 9. Jace returned to the panel, opened it. Leary stepped out, her face pale and sweaty, but calm. "You didn't give me up," she said. "Would have been a waste of a ticket," Jace said with a small grin. She gave a quiet laugh, then nodded. "You're the first human I've met who didn't want something from me." "Maybe I do," Jace said. "Someday you can tell me your whole story." "Someday," she replied. "I will." But deep in space, someone had tracked the shuttle's energy signature, someone who recognized the name Leary Zion, and they were already on their way. The hunt begins. The air on Arkel 9 was dry and red with dust. The colony planet had 2 suns and no shade. Jace squinted as he stepped off the shuttle ramp. Beside him, Leary walked quietly, wearing a new hooded cloak they had found in a donation box aboard the shuttle. It covered her silver hair and glowing mark. But nothing could hide the royalty in her posture. Jace led her through the open landing yard, past workers with metal tools and droids digging into hot rock. "This way," he said. "I used to know someone here who owed me a place to sleep." Leary followed silently, her golden eyes scanning every face. She was no longer the frightened girl from the station. She was watching, listening, calculating. A shadow in the crowd. They found a small corner shack near the edge of the market zone. It was built of scrap, but it had a roof and a working air filter. Jace collapsed onto the cot inside, breathing hard. Leary stood by the window, still alert. "You can rest," Jace told her. "We're safe." "No one is ever safe," she whispered. She was right, because far above Arkel 9, a long, dark ship floated silently in orbit. Its hull bore the mark of the Obsidian Order, a group of elite bounty hunters trained to track, capture, or kill anyone for the right price. Inside the ship, a red hologram of Leary's face glowed in a hunter's visor. "Target confirmed," a deep voice said. "Princess Leary Zion. 7.2 million credits. Dead or alive." And the hunt began. Secrets in the dust. Over the next 2 days, Jace and Leary tried to blend in. Jace got a repair job at a mining site. Leary helped at a refugee shelter, fixing water filters without being asked. She stayed quiet, her hood always pulled low. But something strange started happening. Machines around her began to react oddly. An old power core started working again when she walked past. A broken communication tower blinked back to life when she brushed it. And late one night, she touched a broken circuit board and whispered words in an ancient alien tongue. The board began to glow blue, softly humming. Jace watched from the doorway, stunned. "How did you do that?" Leary looked up, her voice calm. "It's in my blood. My people once ruled entire systems, not through war, but through ancient energy. Most have forgotten, I haven't." She stood up and walked over. "That's why they fear me. I carry something they can't control." Jace nodded slowly. "And I think it's waking up." The first attack at dawn, while the colony slept. A ship landed silently outside the market walls. The bounty hunters moved fast. They entered the shelter, scanning every room. They questioned miners. They checked the shuttle records. One of them, a half-cyber soldier with burning red eyes, found a broken plate with Leary's mark etched on it. He grinned. "She's here." Meanwhile, Jace and Leary were walking through. The vendor rose, searching for batteries. Suddenly, the crowd screamed. Boom! A blast hit a market stall just meters away. Shoppers ran. Smoke rose. Jace turned and saw them. 3 dark-armored figures with glowing weapons. One of them pointed at Leary. "Target acquired! Run!" Jace shouted. They sprinted through alleys, weaving between crates, diving under rails. One blast missed Jace's back by inches. Leary turned and raised her hand. Suddenly, a wall of air knocked the hunter off his feet. Jace stared, breathless. "You have powers?" "No," she said, panting. "I have responsibilities. The sacrifice of a friend." They reached a scrapyard where Jace's old friend, Tarn, ran a repair garage. Tarn, a gruff man with oil-stained arms, hid them under the floor. "They'll kill you if they catch you helping us," Jace warned. "Then they'll kill me," Tarn said. You saved my son on Tarsus once, I pay my debts. But the hunters found the garage by nightfall. Tarn stood at the front gate, alone, holding a plasma welder. No one's here, he growled. They didn't listen. They shot him. Jace saw it happen through a crack in the floor. Leary pulled Jace back as he cried out. We can't save him, she whispered, but we can make his death mean something. Escape in the storm using the distraction, they escaped through the back tunnels of the junkyard. Outside, a dust storm was building fast. Red wind and flying rock. Visibility dropped. Perfect cover. They ran through the storm, Leary holding a glowing compass that responded to her voice. Where are we going? Jace shouted. To a place I've never been, but I remember from my mother's mind. How? Because I'm not just her daughter, she said. I am her legacy. Behind them, red lasers cut through the wind, but they kept running, and the storm swallowed them whole. To be continued, the bounty hunters would not give up. The royal bloodline was still breathing, and somewhere in the ancient deserts of Arkel 9, a lost secret waited to awaken, with a human and a hidden queen walking right toward it. The secret inside her DNA. The desert of Arkel 9 was endless. Red wind howled over sand-covered ruins. Old stone towers leaned like forgotten bones. Jace followed Leary through this strange graveyard of an ancient world, wondering what she meant when she said, "This place remembers my mother." They had walked for hours. The dust storm had passed, but now the heat came like a hammer. Jace's throat was dry, his legs heavy, but Leary didn't slow down. She moved like she knew exactly where to go, guided by something unseen. "Are you sure we're not just lost?" he finally asked. Leary paused at the edge of a cracked stone platform, her eyes locked onto a strange round symbol etched in the center of the ruins. "No, we've arrived." The voice of the past. She stepped onto the platform and whispered something in her native language. The ground shuddered, a low hum vibrated beneath their feet. Then, without warning, a beam of blue light shot from the symbol into the sky. Jace fell back. His hand reached for a rock, half expecting a trap. "What did you do?" "I activated the archive," Leary said calmly. "This place is alive." From the stone pillars, holograms flickered on, ancient figures in flowing armor speaking in a soft, forgotten tongue. One of them looked just like Leary. "That's your mother?" Jace whispered. Leary nodded. "This place, it holds her memory, her voice, her plans." A deep voice echoed through the air. "To the blood-bearer of the Zion line, you have returned. Your path of awakening begins." Suddenly the light circled around Leary, scanning her. Her eyes rolled back. Her body floated into the air. Jace tried to run to her, but an invisible field held him back. "Leary!" But she wasn't in pain. Her voice came like a whisper. "I remember now. The palace. The betrayal. The secret door under the throne. It wasn't just about a crown." "What then?" Jace shouted. She landed softly on her feet. Her body glowed slightly, the blue light fading. "They didn't kill my family just for power," she said. "They feared what we were guarding, an ancient weapon or a promise." Jace helped her, walked to the edge of the platform. Below them, the ground cracked open, revealing a chamber beneath the ruins. Inside, glowing lines of energy curved along the walls, like veins in stone. In the center sat a small metal sphere, hovering in air. "That's it?" Jace asked. "Looks like a broken lamp." "It's called a heart core," Leary said softly. "My family protected it for centuries." She reached toward it. The sphere floated down and touched her palm. It lit up, responding to her DNA. Then it spoke in standard. "Genetic match confirmed. Access granted. Initiating protocol. Return of the flame." Jace took a step back. "Okay, what kind of flame are we talking about?" "Not a weapon," Leary said. "Not in The way most think, it's a technology from before the empires, a living knowledge. It can heal planets, restart dying stars, rebuild lost cities. So, not a bomb. No, she smiled. But to the wrong hands, it could rewrite entire civilizations. That's why they hunted her, because her DNA was the key. The enemy awakens far above Arkel 9. The bounty hunters had tracked her again. The heart core's activation had triggered energy spikes picked up by their sensors. Their ship entered atmosphere. Inside, a masked leader spoke. Prepare orbital strike. If we cannot take her, we will bury her. The sky darkened. A blue fireball formed in the clouds. Jace's choice back in the chamber. Leary's hands shook. The heart core pulsed faster. They're coming, she said. How do you know? Because the heart core feels it too. Jace looked at the glowing artifact, then at Leary. He stepped forward. What if we gave it to them? Maybe they'll let you live. She shook her head. They won't. Once I open its full power, it bonds to my blood. If they kill me, they can use it freely. Jace thought hard, then said the one thing she didn't expect. Then don't activate it. Destroy it. She froze. That would mean losing everything my people died for. But it might save you, he said. I don't want a legacy if it means losing you. Silence fell. Then Leary smiled, tears in her eyes. No one has ever chosen me over a throne before. She placed the heart core in his hands. Then we choose together, escape through the stars. Suddenly, the roof of the ruins exploded. The enemy ship fired down, and the entire desert trembled. Stone cracked. Fire rained from the sky, but the heart core glowed brightly, reacting to Leary's decision. A hidden stairway opened, leading to an underground tunnel with a small ancient escape pod. They ran. Inside the pod, Leary placed her hand on a panel. The pod powered up. Engines roared. Ready? She asked. Not even close, Jace said. But they launched. As the ruins collapsed behind them, the pod soared into the clouds, disappearing into the stars. To be continued. The heart core had chosen her. But now the galaxy knew she was alive. And next, they'd try to take her back or break her. The betrayal that burns. The escape pod shuddered as it cut through space. Jace tightened the straps across his chest while Leary sat in silence, staring ahead. Her hands still held the glowing heart core, small, warm, and beating like a heart of light. They didn't speak for a long time, not until the pod finally stabilized, floating safely in the quiet dark. Where now? Jace asked. Leary slowly looked at him. We need a ship, a real one, something that can take us beyond this. System. And where do we find that? In the middle of nowhere? She gave a small, sad smile. There's a station, off the charts, hidden. My mother called it Sanctuary 14. Jace raised an eyebrow. Sounds made up. Everything sounds made. Up until you see it, she whispered. A desperate landing. They located a drifting freighter on emergency signals. Its engines were dead, but the escape pod docked safely. Inside, the air smelled like rust and oil. Lights flickered overhead. No. Crew, Jace and Leary moved through it carefully, checking systems. We can reroute power to the nav drive, Jace said, already opening panels. Might take a day. I'll help, Leary said. They worked side by side. No words needed. But as night passed and the engines started to hum, something changed. Leary was looking through an old database, her eyes narrowed. She stared at the screen. No. What is it? Jace asked. She turned the screen. It showed a bounty listing. Target. Leary Zion location pinged. Arkel system price. Doubled. Posted by House Tyrakai. But beneath that, in small red text, was something worse. Confirmed traitor. Rail Voss. Human male engineer. Reward for capture. Jace froze. That's my name. They marked you. Leary stepped back. They knew who helped me. They knew your name. They put a price on you, too. Jace swallowed hard. So we're both hunted now. Because of me. A wound deeper than blood. The silence between them grew heavy. Jace stood slowly. Maybe I should have left you back at the station, he said quietly. Leary's head dropped. Maybe you should have. But then Jace walked toward her and gently took her hand. But I didn't. Their eyes met. And I won't, he whispered. Suddenly, bang. An explosion shook the ship. The screen went black. Emergency lights flashed. A voice came through the speakers. You're surrounded. Surrender. The hardcore. No mercy next time. Leary's hand tightened. It's them. How did they find us? Because someone told them. Leary whispered. The unexpected betrayal. They ran to the control deck. But the systems were locked. Jace tried every code. It's jammed. This isn't a simple hack. Then a new voice echoed behind them. Because it's not a hack, it's a command override. They turned fast. A man stood in the doorway. Tall, dark hair, a uniform half burned. His eyes cold. Leary gasped. General Alex? The man stepped in. I was once her protector, he said to Jace. Swore to guard her life with mine. He looked at Leary. But you ran, and left thousands to die. I was a child, Leary shouted. They killed my family. And now you run with this? Alex pointed at Jace. A human? A nobody? Jace stepped forward. Say what you want, but she's alive because of me, Alex sneered. And soon she'll be dead because of you. He raised a weapon. The flame awakens. Suddenly, the heart core lit up in Leary's hand, brighter than ever. She stepped forward. You swore to protect me, she said to Alex. You betrayed your oath. You betrayed your empire. Then I'll build a new one. The heart core pulsed. A wave of blue light shot through the walls, disabling the override. Jace's control screen came back to life. Get us out of here, she yelled. Jace slammed the console. Engines roared. The freighter shot forward, but Alex fired just before the door sealed. A bolt of plasma hit Leary's side. She screamed and dropped. When a human fights for a queen. Leary lay unconscious in Jace's arms, her cloak soaked in glowing blue blood. Her face was pale, her breath weak. The shot from Alex had burned deep into her side. Jace could feel her body trembling, even in sleep. He had seen pain before. He had seen wounds, but never this kind. This wasn't just injury. This was betrayal, and it hurt him more than he could explain. Hold on, he whispered, placing her gently on the ship's medical bed. Just hold on, Leary. The fight to save her. The freighter was old. Its medbay had only a single outdated stim injector and a few Regan patches. Jace did everything he could. He closed the wound, used the stim, wrapped the nano bandage tightly. Still, Leary didn't wake. Come on, wake up, he said softly, brushing silver strands from her face. You're the strong one. You always were. He sat beside her all night, watching the heart core float near her hand, flickering dimly like a fading star. It seemed to know her pain, and it felt like his pain too. A call for help desperate, Jace opened a hidden comm channel from the freighter's comms. He sent a coded message, hoping someone, somewhere would hear it. This is Jace Voss. I'm with Leary Zion. She's hurt. Bad. I need medical help. Sanctuary 14, if you exist, please respond. Silence. Then, crackling static. Code received. Voice matched. Opening coordinates to Sanctuary 14. Do not deviate. She must survive. The ship's nav lit up, plotting a new course. Jace didn't know who answered, or how they knew him, but he didn't care. Someone was still on her side. The Hidden World 3. Hours later, they approached a planet hidden behind a dead star, a dark world shrouded in clouds. But as the ship drew close, the clouds parted. A single tower rose from the planet's surface, glowing blue. Sanctuary 14. It wasn't a station. It was a temple. The freighter landed smoothly. Ramps opened. Dozens of robed figures approached, not soldiers, but healers. Alien species from every edge of the galaxy walked among them, each carrying tools, medicines, and strange tech. They lifted Leary gently. "She carries the flame," one whispered, "and the wound burns with betrayal." The flame. Heals inside the temple. The heart core floated into a glowing chamber. Healers placed Leary on a crystal bed. Lights surrounded her, reading her DNA, her injuries, her memories. Jace stood by, helpless, watching. Then a voice spoke behind him. "You gave up everything for her." Jace turned. An older alien woman stood with glowing tattoos on her forehead. She looked part machine, part oracle. "You are not her guard, not her blood, not her subject, and yet you followed her into fire." Jace said nothing at first. Then he whispered, "Because she's not just a queen. She's someone worth fighting for." Rebirth of the Queen. After 2 days, the light around Leary began to shift. The chamber grew quiet. Then her eyes opened, bright gold, clear, strong. She sat up slowly, looking at Jace. "You stayed." He smiled, tears in his eyes. "Told you I would." Leary touched his hand. "I saw my mother. In the light. She showed me what I'm meant to do." "What is it?" She stood, still weak but shining with purpose. "Unite the lost. Restore what was broken. And never run again." The return of the flame. The heart core returned to her palm, fully lit now. The temple echoed with a humming sound, as if the world was singing to her. One of the elder healers stepped forward and knelt. "Your time has come, Flamebearer." "No," Leary said, surprising them all. She looked at Jace. "Our time has come." She turned back to the healer. "This human is not just my savior. He's my heart, my protector. And if I rise, he rises with me." The army that waited. The healers opened the lower chamber of the temple. Inside were ships, dozens, hundreds, hidden for generations. "These were the royal fleet," the elder said. "Your blood awakens them." Leary stepped forward. The ships lit up, one by one. Lights glowed along their hulls. She turned to Jace. "This is the army of peace, of hope. Not war." "And what will we do with it?" Jace asked. "We go back," she said, "to the ones who betrayed us, and we show them what real strength looks like." To be continued. The galaxy thought she was broken, but she was reborn, with a flame in her soul, and a human by her side. The queen rises for one man. 1,000,000 stars blinked across the black sky. The ships of the old royal fleet, hidden for decades beneath Sanctuary 14, now flew again, bright with ancient power. Their blue thrusters left glowing trails, like the return of forgotten hope. Leary stood at the command deck of the lead vessel. She wore a new robe, stitched with golden thread that shimmered like her eyes. Her silver hair was braided behind her head, and her shoulders held the weight of memory and destiny. Beside her, Jace wore simple armor, nothing fancy but enough to protect. He still didn't think of himself as a warrior, but after everything, he knew one thing. "If someone wants to take her," he had said, "they'll have to go through me." The message to the galaxy. Leary stepped forward before the ship's central comm device. Cameras activated, lights adjusted. A silent countdown began. When it hit 0, her voice echoed across dozens of systems. The core worlds, the old colonies, even the outlands. "I am Leary Zayan, daughter of Queen Malira and true bearer of the flame. You were told I was dead, you were told I ran. But I live, and I have returned, not for war, not for vengeance, but for justice. To those who betrayed my family, to the house of Tirakai, and all who serve them." She paused, I'm coming home. The message ended. The galaxy held its breath. The battle for the throne. They reached the royal planet 3 days later. Tyrakai's fleet stood ready, huge black ships bristling with weapons. They outnumbered Lyri's force 3-1. They'll never let us land, Jace said. Then we don't land, Lyri replied. We rise. She opened a signal to her fleet. This is not a war of revenge. No ship will fire unless fired upon. We will not become them. Let our strength speak in our calm. Let our courage shine in restraint. As they moved forward, Tyrakai's ships launched a barrage. But something unexpected happened. Half the enemy ships stopped firing. Some even turned around. A voice came through the comms. We served her mother. We'll never serve liars again. We stand with the true queen. Lyri closed her eyes. Her heart beat faster. They were choosing her. The queen descends. Lyri's ship landed at the palace gates. The guards stood in confusion. Many dropped their weapons. Some knelt. Jace walked at her side, sword across his back, eyes sharp. Inside the throne hall, the usurpers waited, led by the cold and cruel Lord Tyrakai. He stood, cloaked in black, surrounded by silent lords. You come to beg? He sneered. No, Lyri said. I come to end the lie. Tyrakai laughed. You were a child. You ran. And you killed everyone I loved. They were weak. Lyri stepped forward, lifting the heart core. Its light filled the room. Then let the flame decide. The artifact floated into the air. A ring of blue energy spun around Lyri. Tyrakai pulled a weapon, but he was too slow. The heart core pulsed once, and his weapon shattered in his hand. Guards pulled him to the floor. Lyri walked past him. You taught the galaxy to fear me, she whispered. Now they will follow me because I gave them hope. The crown of fire and light. Later that evening, Lyri stood before the old throne, but she did not sit. Instead, she turned to the crowd. The age of empires is over. I will not rule alone. From this day forward, the Council of Stars will guide all planets together. She looked at Jace. And I name Jace Voss as first guardian of the flame. He froze. Lyri, I'm just a guy who gave you a ticket. She stepped to him. You gave me more than that. You gave me freedom. You gave me love. And when the galaxy turned its back, you stood still. She reached out her hand. Stand with me still. He smiled. Always. The human and the queen. In time, people would sing songs of that day, of how a human with no past gave a queen her future, of how kindness changed the fate of worlds, and of a moment, quiet and pure, when two hearts met not as ruler and protector, but as equals. They stood on the royal balcony, under stars now free again. Lyri leaned against Jace, whispering, Do you regret spending your last credits on me? He laughed softly. Not even for a second. She smiled. Good. Because somewhere out there, a girl once lost and forgotten had become more than just a queen. She had become a symbol of unity, of peace, and of love that changed the stars.